Hey, and we are back with Freeformers Unplugged, a live stream / podcast series that we have not done for nearly half a year. When was the I meant to look up when the last one was. Can you remember when the last one
Oh, it
was?
was before the summer, so yeah, June, July time. Well,
Crikey.
hi everyone, we're back.
We're back. We're back with more provocation and just more provocation. I was going to try and do. What do we do here, Emily? Why are we here on LinkedIn and streaming and doing all this stuff? What's the point?
Oh, it's just having a chat, isn't it? No, I'm joking. What are we doing? Well, we take lots of different topics from the world of HR and then try and reimagine them, sometimes having some particularly spicy opinions, sometimes having actually what we'd probably quite more mainstream opinions. But regardless, try and imagining key things about HR, about running a business, about people and employee experience, but perhaps in a slightly different way.
Abso-flipping-lutely. And we are on a slightly new platform now. So I can do, hey, we're back. And that's not doing anything. Hang on. And everybody, Freeformers is back. Freeformers Unplugged is back.
Woo.
Calm down, everybody. Yeah, so we're now using a new platform which is bigger and better than our old platform. So if there are any technical glitches that happen today, do bear with. We will fix them for next week for sure. But we now, unbelievably, have a topic for every week of the year from here on out. So we are going to get super annoying and super visible because we are back. I haven't posted anything on LinkedIn this year yet. This is the first thing I've commented and reacted, but this
What
is
have
the
you been
first thing.
doing?
Busy working. I think I've had a number of people ask if I'm okay because I've not posted
Oh,
anything. They're like,
that's
"You
nice.
are incredibly good." It is very nice. And so I am okay. I'm alive. All is good. Got a couple of cool things happening at Freeformers HQ, which we can't really talk about. One of them we definitely can't talk about, but just rest assured that I am okay. Emily's okay, and we're doing some really cool stuff. So what is this week's episode called? Nice short title. Most employer brands are rubbish. Are they? Is a question I'm asking you.
Discuss. Well, you wrote the title. Do you want the technical answer here? Most. What's most? Most is 50% plus one. Lots of employer brands are rubbish, as mean always needing to hedge. It's true. No, they really is true. There's a lot of similarities. I think if we really dig down, like what is the purpose of an employer brand? And then are most employer brands meeting that purpose? And that would be how you'd be able to answer that question. So what is the purpose of an employer brand in your eyes?
Attraction, right? Come and work here. It's an awesome place to work here. We're the best company ever. It's to make people think that it's a really good place.
Marketing,
Recruitment,
essentially,
attraction,
isn't it?
recruitment. Yeah.
Yeah, marketing, recruitment. So that maybe you get some of your questions answered up front. You want to attract the best candidates, the most suitable for the role. Maybe there's an element of, if you've got an employer brand you've got people who are very active as a part of it, a secondary goal might be around employee advocacy, which can feed into your employer brand. But let's be honest, most of them don't capitalize on employee advocacy and people who actually work there saying good stuff about your company. Most of them are quite top driven. We've got a website, we've got a corporate LinkedIn page or a corporate Instagram page. Very exciting, and not a lot else happens there.
Well, very exciting. We've had our first commenter in the comments because that's usually where they are. Kareen has said this is a topic for my HR mini series coming up on the Experts Speak English podcast. So if you want to follow up from this conversation, then head over and listen to that because I'm sure there'll be some even more insight and provocation that we are offering up here. But shall we start and show our homework?
Yes,
Should we
Toby's done
show our homework?
homework.
Which, if anyone has listened or seen Freeformers Unplugged before, me doing homework before this live stream is unheard of. It kind of also is still unheard of because this is a piece of work I did, or a part of a talk I did at the Charities HR Network. So I reappropriated something that was already there rather than actually doing any homework. So don't worry, I've not had a complete personality change. I'm still whatever I am. I don't know. Fast and loose as I always have been. Right. So what did I do? So I was speaking about employer value proposition and employer brand, and I wanted to evaluate how bland and boring most corporate employer brands are. And I demonstrated that by benchmarking is probably not the right word, but kind of
Comparing.
combing, yeah, comparing 4 companies that do the same thing, and to see if we can determine which one of these companies, if we can determine which company is which. So there are 4 telecommunications companies. I'll put that out there. And is their employer brand distinctive enough that you would know who it is? Now, if you work for any of these, that's cheating. So don't come into the comments and give that. But the test here is that I assume that most employer brands are so vanilla and generic and don't really say anything that they almost become pointless because they're all just saying the same thing. So, shall we dive into it? I'm gonna share my screen, and I'm not gonna say, "Can everybody see that?" Can everyone see that? I can
I can
see
see
it, so
it. I can see
it's
it.
clearly working. Clearly working. Oh, and then we get widescreen, so you can actually see what my arms look like to an extent when we're in this mode, which is very nice. Okay, so the first thing I did when I looked at these employer brand websites was I looked at the first things when you go on their careers page or their employer brand page, whatever you want to call it. We looked at what was the first thing that they say on that page. So company one said work that works for you. Not quite sure what that means.
Well, actually, I think it's quite clever. It doesn't really say lots, but it's to me that implies flexibility. That implies perhaps some autonomy. Think about the things that are important for you, your values. That to me is saying that whatever your values are, you can align with us, right? So that would be flexible working. That would be, the kind of the tooling you get to use. If it turns out it's really rigid and really really structured, that to me would then be a disappointment and a letdown.
Fair enough. Okay, so that one does show flexibility. I like that one. I think company 2 is the one I find the most hilarious. See what you can do when you join us.
Um, ooh, I mean, yes,
I think I'm missing intonation there. It's like, see what you can do when you join us. I don't know. Even when I say it like that, it still doesn't work for me.
see what you can do when you join us. No, even then. Um, I mean, what am I envisaging? I'm envisaging, oh, I can, what can I do? I don't know. The possibilities are endless, but also probably very limited. I don't know. I don't feel particularly excited by that one, I have to say.
Okay, company 3. So we've had to redact some of the information here because it would give away who it is. With company 3, you can shape the future, which is quite broad.
Do you know what I think of when I think that? For some reason, I think of like space exploration. I'm sure you said the telecommunications, so it's probably not
I
space
did. We're not comparing
exploration. I
SpaceX, NASA, whatever Bezos is doing, and another spaceship.
know, but that's what
Richard
I was
Branson.
thinking. I don't know why I thought that. I mean, it sounds like it could be quite exciting, but again, like you say, it's really quite broad.
You could
Um,
shape the future in telecommunications. Is kind of what you're being told
but
there,
also it
really.
depends
Because
on your role, right? Because some roles, I don't know. Some roles you probably could shape the future if you're working in R&D or innovation. Like some roles they genuinely could. If you have a more, I don't know, administrative role, payroll, are you shaping the future? Don't know.
uh, if anybody in payroll is watching or listening, let us know. If you have a role in payroll, can you shape the future? Not necessarily of the company. I'm assuming it because it's assuming that if you're working with company 3, you're shaping the broader future because it's not shaping the future of the company. You're literally shaping the future of the world, which I would say every person is shaping the future because we're shaping the future now by doing stuff. Butterfly effect, right? Like everything you do has an impact on the future. Um, we're going to inspire millions of minds with Freeformers Unplugged. And therefore in turn is shaping the future. Company 4, then, this is my favorite one because this is super ambitious, bless them. A once in a lifetime opportunity.
For some people, it could be.
They had 44 jobs live at the point of when I did this research. So I would say it's not a once in a lifetime opportunity. There are 44 opportunities in your lifetime on that single day for you to go and work with that organization. Do you not think that's just a bit like, come on, get real? You're just selling mobile phones, mate.
Yeah, maybe. But then, like, if it's your first role, then it is a once in a. No, I'm really stretching it. No, I agree with you.
you tried to you
I'm
tried to
really
save it.
trying, and I could talk some rubbish, but no one's interested in that. So yeah, no.
Okay, so that's how they talk about themselves. I kind of analysed them through a few different lenses. So let's look at development, training, development, personal development. I kind of I'll just say the bold bits rather than reading all through it. But these were kind of the bits pulled out of paragraphs. So at company one, here you can try new things. Good. Develop your skills, okay, and branch out in different directions.
At least you know it's written by a human, not by ChatGPT.
How do you know that that's not written by ChatGPT? That's
Because
the giveaway.
ChatGPT wouldn't have used such vanilla. You can try new things. It would have
Yeah.
reframed it like you'll have exciting opportunities. Like it would have tried to make it a little bit less bad.
What like company two, which is incredible job opportunities.
And I mean, define incredible job opportunities. There could well be incredible, like some of those roles are going to be incredible, right?
Unbelievable perks. Perks so good that you won't
Ooh.
believe they're even perks.
What's the best perk you've ever had? Side note. Or the most unbelievable one, I
Ooh.
guess.
I've never had an unbelievable perk because every time they said this is the perk, I go, that's
Oh, I could tell you
that
one.
is
I could tell you
believable.
my most unbelievable perk, but not in a good way. I've said
Okay.
this on the live stream before. Um, the most unbelievable perk somebody tried to sell as an unbelievable perk was toilet roll in the loos.
Wow. I've actually got one. I've got one. It was called Flex Fridays. It was called.
Mhm.
Right now, Emily, if I told you Flex Fridays, what do you think that would be?
I would say you can finish at like 3 on a Friday or whatever it is, or you could flex your hours on a Friday maybe. Or the other thing, but only because I was already thinking about this, is maybe your dress code could flex. Maybe you could have dress down
Ooh.
Fridays. Maybe, but it's a bit of a pants name if that's the case.
It was every other Friday. So not even every Friday, just every other Friday. You can take it off
Okay.
unless the you have unless you've got work to do.
Unless you've got work to
Was the
do.
rule. Unless you've got work to do, you could take every other Friday off. Um who do you think determined whether you had work to do or not?
Probably not you.
Yeah, your manager.
Probably
So
your manager.
there was no level of flexibility there at all. All the flexibility was all on the manager. That was quite unbelievable because it was like, wow, this sounds good, and then it wasn't good
Yeah, but
because
also, like, how terrible. That's a system like ripe for exploitation. Your manager doesn't like you don't get to have flexible Fridays. Or some managers are more relaxed than others, or some managers prioritize employee well-being or employee happiness satisfaction over getting the work done. Then those people get the week off. But like, that's that's just terrible. Was it a small company? Tell me it
yes,
was a small company.
I had a slight argument because I said I wasn't available for a call, and I was told I had to attend the call. And I was like, yeah, but it's flex Friday. Like, if I can't plan that as a day off, then what use is it? Like, it made no sense. So yeah, I know some organizations do the 4-day week. This was the 9-day fortnight with not really 9 days. It was like
A
it was
9-day
actually a
fortnight's
9-day fortnight.
fine. Yeah, with a question mark. A 9-day fortnight is fine. My husband does a 9-day fortnight and absolutely loves it. Any more time, if we went down to 4 days a week, I don't think they'd get all the work done. But like, and loves it. But he knows he can do it. He knows that day is off, and no one is going to bother him on that day off. That's the
Exactly.
difference.
Anyway, so that was the micro
Unbelievable
section on
perks.
unbelievable perks and an inclusive can-do culture.
Well, that sounds like they're trying to put something on there. You can do it. You will. I don't know. Can do. That to me is like really. I'm not
Nothing's
saying I could
impossible.
necessarily write something better, but it just feels really like we customer centric type thing, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but customer first, customer everything, like without and ignoring the bounds of reality is what that makes me think of. But maybe
Mm.
that's just me.
I think it's too broad reaching, right? It's not specific enough to make me feel anything. That's the issue. Is like
Mm.
yeah, and what? Okay, company three. We make sure every company at company three, or every employee at company three, has the tools, development, and support. That argue is just part of. like running a business. You ensure employees have tools and support. Development, maybe not, but that's just stating what a job is it not?
Yeah, but a lot of companies don't do that, do they?
Well, yeah,
Or
but there's but I think the Trade Descriptions Act, I would want to kind of go through this because I would imagine if you spoke to every single employee there, I bet some of them don't have the tools and support they need.
yeah.
For such a big organization, I think it's nigh on impossible to promise that. And I would also ask them what day did they get their laptop when they first joined.
Or I mean, not everyone has a laptop. If you're not hybrid, then but yeah, it's access to the systems, isn't it, and all of that.
Yeah,
Everybody's first day on a big corporate, you're just sat there, aren't you?
twiddling
You know,
thumbs.
yeah. You can look around the file system if you've got access. And that's about all you do, isn't it?
Fun. Incredible job opportunities. The first thing you do is look through the file system. Company 4 will give you the space to think ahead, the tools to thrive, and the backing to be your best.
I'm not gonna lie, that's my favorite of the four
Right.
because like if and this is the big thing with all of these, right? Is it a headline or is it something that's actually a part of their value? Because if that translated to you get half a day a week to work on tools that are I'm thinking development now, but like if you've got half a day a week to work on tools that are of interest, like passion projects, side projects, for example, that to me, that's a huge like part of employee value proposition. Or if it's like actually, we prioritize, let's say we have our afternoon a week where or personal development's really, really encouraged. So in terms of you are expected to go to conferences, you are expected to be innovative, and you've got the space to do it. Like genuinely, that
Mm.
to me, if it's true, is the most exciting of the four.
Well, and if we go back a page, that is the once in a lifetime opportunity one as well. So it kind of rings true. At least they're making a big claim. If they can back it up, fantastic. But it feels like a big claim for me.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Like you're always taught, like if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And to say something's a once in a life opportunity, and then that, like, there's a few conversations here, right? In the an employer brand has to be good enough to attract people, but it has to also accurately reflect what the reality is.
Yeah.
Either way, so don't oversell and don't undersell. And it feels like I would hazard a guess that this is overselling. I highly doubt that that's the reality. I'm willing to be challenged at anyone at Company 4 when we reveal who they are to pull me up on it, but I highly doubt it. Like even when you kind of look at startup culture and working in like very small organizations, I don't think I could have ticked all those boxes. The backing to be your best, I think, is probably the. Oh, I don't know. It's interesting. Anyway, we digress. Let's go on to the next one. Inclusion. So, company one. We're not going to use the phrase diversity as our superpower. We'll just say it's a strength because no one likes the phrase diversity as a superpower. So we've just gone with strength. You don't need to change who you are to fit in. I like that. That's fine.
Again, if your money's where your mouth is, if that is genuinely true and it's a genuinely welcoming and inclusive environment, props to them, right?
Well, and this is my problem with most DEI stuff is that it starts and stops with branding and recruitment. It doesn't go beyond that. You haven't really fixed the system of your workplace to truly embrace inclusion. You think you have because you've hired a more diverse workforce, but then you've treated everyone the same when they get there, which makes no sense at all. Company 2, we're going all in because they're playing poker with this. We're going all in to move the dial on diversity, make equity part of everything we do, and put inclusion at the heart of our business. Is there something with SEO where you need to put diversity, equity, and inclusion in this to make it rank, or what's going on there?
No idea. I mean, I first of all just want to say all in capital letters. I bet that's one of their values. I used to
Oh,
work.
good
I used to work
catch.
in a place where one of the values was "we're on," and like it was always "we're on," and it was capitalized like that, and it was all in is going to be one of their values.
I like it. I like it. It's so long since I've done this. I actually can't remember what the companies are. um, which will be good when we get to that big reveal. Company 3. Our difference makes us stronger.
I mean, that's the same as our diversity as our strengths.
Or diversity is our superpower, which is I might have to Google like diversity is our superpower to see how many like employers that ranks on because I imagine it must be quite high.
Is
Um,
it a super? Okay, when does a superpower become a superpower? Because if everybody's got the same superpower, is it still a superpower?
what a question! When does a superpower become a superpower?
Well, okay, so let's think. Like, I I was just thinking about vision because obviously we're both wearing glasses, and if everybody was as blind as we were, then 20/20 vision would be a superpower. But because so many people have 20/20 vision without corrective lenses of any sort, then it's not a superpower. So I don't know.
Which is probably where you get to with Company 1. That's why I said diversity is our strength because it can't be a superpower because it's something everyone can have if they work
Do you
hard enough.
know what though? It's still positive that all of these companies still have that, given the backlash over in the States and in other places and in some parts of the UK. So it is still positive that all of this is still there, even if it is a little generic sounding and maybe not necessarily driving all the way through.
Very good point. And yes, they are all UK based companies for our international listeners and viewers. Company 4, the kind of braggy one, as I'm now going to call them, we're building a workplace where different perspectives are welcomed, voices are heard, and everyone feels safe to show up as themselves.
Mm. Does your data back that up, everyone? That's strong. That is strong. Um,
Yeah, like yeah. Again, you have to back it up because the damage it does as a new employee when you've read that and you believed it so much that you've signed a contract, and then that isn't the case.
I think
That's
particularly for people who are different. So people are different and maybe don't present as so different. So I'm thinking like disability, hidden disabilities in particular, neurodiversity obviously as a part of it. Um, gender and sexual, not gender's obvious, for most people, sexual orientation though, things like that. Like, is it okay to turn up and to be yourself? And then you get into that age old thing, like how much of there's your work self and your home self, and nobody wants their home self at work because there are boundaries and there absolutely should be boundaries of some sort.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So it feels like they're all pretty much saying the same thing to varying levels of promise, I would say. Again, none of them stand out. Could you guess any of these companies are at the moment? I'll tell you what
Literally be
it's Vodafone, O2, 3, and EE are the four companies, not necessarily in that order. Could you make any reasonable
no.
guess? Do you want to try and guess at
um
the moment?
I feel like company 4 is going to be Vodafone or O2, but I think that's more about what I know about them as a brand or my opinion of them as a brand rather than as a customer,
And this is in part the other part
rather
of the
than an employee.
conversation, right? Is that an employer brand, there's a lot of heuristics that go on. If you're a notable brand, there's heuristic there about what your brand already does anyway. Before you even get to this page, you get to this page. So yeah, which is kind of interesting. Okay, I will. Before we do the reveal, I'm going to ask you to like nail the colors to the mast and say which one is which. And the color icons are no clue either. I don't think.
Uh,
Depends how you know your telcos. To be honest.
Not at all. Not at all.
Oh
Um, I mean, this is a fun game, right? Let's put.
no, we haven't got to the end. There's there's
Oh,
there's
oh,
two more.
sorry. I thought I was
Um,
committing.
yeah. Whoa, slow down. We're gonna make this live stream last for at least 40 minutes for my eyes. For my eyes? That's not the phrase, is it? For my
I don't
mind?
know what you were trying to say. I was just going to gloss
Me neither.
over it.
Okay, how they talk about purpose. Hmm. Everyone working here is on a mission to make people's lives easier every day.
People's life. People. I mean, people. People could be customers. People could be internal employees. People could just
People's
be.
lives easier every day. So
Well,
this
they're
company
try.
is going to say that every day they're doing something to make someone's life better.
I think you're arguing over semantics there. They're on the mission every day. They might not be succeeding every day.
I mean that is a good point. Well, we want to, but it's pretty hard. We wrote it and then it's actually unachievable. So, but it's still our mission.
Make your
Stretch
life
target, right?
easier.
Stretch target.
Well, I think in communications world, make your life easier so you can do the thing you want to do is what I take away by easier. Like, Again, it depends what's underneath it, really. If that's all the information you've got, I don't know.
You're selling phone calls, text messages, and data. Come on, get over yourself. As one of the UK's largest businesses, all right, show off. We are high-powered. No, we are
No.
powered by epic, diverse, high-performing. An epic should be
This
an
is
epic.
why you were reading the bold bits only.
Yeah, provide customers with a range of services they love to use and rely on every day. I suppose you do use your phone every day.
I mean, I'm
So,
not. That's true, but it's not much in the way of a purpose, is it?
yeah, I don't love my phone every day. I don't.
You're addicted to your phone every day. Most of the population is.
But it's not. But my telecommunications provider, I wouldn't say they're offering me a service that I love to use and rely on every day. Well, I do rely on it because if I don't have data, then I'm screwed.
It's just
But
not
do I?
particularly exciting, is it?
It's hard
But
to
then,
make data lovable.
oh, excuse me.
Oh, it's okay. I just realised I was talking to mobile data, not data.
Until you haven't got it. I don't know. Like, I think it's fine. I just think it's not very exciting. But then, does every business need to be exciting? Not every business is purposeful, is
Well,
it?
yeah, but
So
if you've got someone's attention, you're going to write something about your company. Surely you would want to make it meaningful. Otherwise, this is just paying lip service. It's just paying lip service. Then what's the
it'd be
point
something
of
like
it?
we
Why does
help
it
Britain
exist?
run. Like it's something like that. Like tapping into the idea that the UK would not work if any of these companies went down, right? Because of the number. Yes, okay, there are alternatives, and you can go on to alternatives. But like if Vodafone was completely cut out, one story time when I lived in Southampton, some ospreys nested on the mast, one of the masts, and then there was just no coverage. And I'm pretty sure it was Vodafone for like 4 or 5 days before they did something. I don't know what they did because you're not allowed to move ospreys, but I just remember it. Yeah, there was no phone signal over Southampton for most people.
Crikey.
So something like that, like genuinely, the country could not work without us. Something like to get that sense of purpose and motivation and excitement, maybe.
Which brings us on to company 3. We believe connectivity is a force for good.
Whenever I see Force, I just think Star Wars.
Which is great because you don't really watch that many cult films.
No, I've never seen Star Wars all the way through.
What? Any of them?
I watched half of the one with the Ewoks once.
Half of the one with the Ewoks.
Yeah, I just remember them running about trees. That's what I really remember.
I can't take this live stream down a tangent, but I want to. So we believe connectivity is a force for good. So what it's an essential part of our lives. If we use technology for the things that really matter, it can improve our lives.
See, that's what I was just saying. That's what I was saying. It is a purpose, but at the same time, they've managed to make it more dull. Sorry. But in purpose, these should all be quite similar, right? And then if you move on to four as well, that again, that's tapping into what I just said, that kind of purpose.
But I think it's making some quite bold leaps about the company, right? Because it's a company that connects people, places, and potential. Technically, yes. Technically, a mobile phone provider, telecommunications provider connects people and places and potential. Like by the science, it is doing that. How much is it responsible for that, other than making the delivery of a message or media or something possible? How much are they actually doing that? Really?
Oh, I think you're being unfair. I think you're being unfair. I think they should lean into it more. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's move on.
Because no, we've got to read this because this is the hyperbole company, isn't it? So,
okay.
Because no matter where you live, what your background is, or how you get online, we think everyone deserves the same chance to stay connected. And with Company 4, that future is being built today. Sounds like an advert.
I mean, you're reading it like an advert, which doesn't help. But I think it's relatively compelling. Like you just said, that's the purpose of the business. I think it works fine. I think they lent into what I said. I'm going with Company 4 as my favourite.
I was about to say which is your favourite. I would say that 4 did sound like your favourite. So let's go through it. So your options are EE, Virgin Media O2, because they're a combined company now, Vodafone, or 3. Let's start. So your favourite. Which one do you think your favourite is?
Vodafone.
Okay. I'll do a big.
I'm not going to get any of these right. Like at least if you could say no, yes, I'm the.
Okay, that's wrong. It's not
okay.
Vodafone.
I'll just guess Vodafone for all of them.
I can confirm that Vodafone is one of them. Okay, let's just do the reveal. Let's show you what we got going on here. The first one was EE. The second one was Virgin Media O2. The third one was Vodafone, and it was three.
Three. See, I
Global
have
with all
such a like
three.
naff opinion of three, and I don't know why. I think it's like because when it first came out, of what it was like. I don't even know. I'm trying to remember who I'm with. I changed recently, so I don't even know
The
who put.
fact that you can't even remember who you're with is a testament to the strength of their brand.
Yeah, I was
GIFGAF?
on
You
Gift. No,
seem
I
like a
was on Gift
GIFGAF
Gaff. No,
person.
I was
Okay.
Gift Gaff when we changed. I think I'm like ID Mobile or something. I don't know.
ID
You can set
Mobile,
it
which
up.
is the carrier issued by Curry's PC World Carphone Warehouse. Just Curry's now. So yeah, your favorite is three. So based on that, if
Should go and
really
apply for
good
a
job.
work at three. Okay.
Yeah, that's. I think that's what we've determined there. I think you're right. I think three is definitely the best one there. But I think that it all felt quite homogenous. It all felt like every
Yeah.
single page was doing exactly the same thing. And I'm still probably no closer to understanding what the proposition is that I would be offered as an employee, how good it is to work there, and all that kind of stuff. Now, of course, we've just taken a snippet of the site, so there is more content. There's video testimonials and all that kind of stuff. Can I pick you up on not pick you up, but pick most careers pages I have found when they have interviews with people to say how good it is to work here? They're all people that sit near the person who makes the videos and does employer branding,
How do
i.e.,
you
they're all
know
in L
that?
and D and HR. On because in some of the organisations I've worked in, I know them, and so I kind of go, okay, your branding is literally just the people you could get that day that are in your team, rather than like a
More
nice
holistic
range of
view.
employees. I'm not saying it's everyone, but it's quite a common trait. Like if and you can't unsee it. So I think that's quite well. A, it's lazy, but also B, like it's the department's job to be able to like say how good it is. So they're kind of forced into saying good stuff. They're not going to say the reality, possibly.
Well, also, if they sit near you, they're probably friends with you if you're being asked, friends or at least cordial, or you're their manager or something like that on the same team working towards the same goal. So, yeah, more likely to say something positive. And that is the problem with opportunity data. Just saying.
And for stupid people like myself, what's opportunity data, Andy?
Opportunity data is basically data that you've got the opportunity to get. So, when people put like a survey out on LinkedIn and say, oh, 70% of people said that employer branding is amazing. And actually, you're an employer brand consultant and you have just basically surveyed a load of people who are employer brand consultants. So opportunity because they're close to you and they're people you can access really easily. But it means they're more likely to be people that share the same views as you, particularly if they're self-selecting to take part in something like that.
Interesting. That was like it felt very much like a Susie Dent moment there. It's like
Oh,
it was very good. I like that. You're the Susie Dent of data. Um, so all jokes and kind of analysis aside here, like what could you do? What do you think you should be doing differently to maximize what you have here, right? Because it's quite interesting. You kind of like your opinion of three was like, nah, nah. And now you've seen their career page, you go, wow, they seem like they're incredible.
well, I mean, I wouldn't go
Um,
that far.
okay, wow. You give with one hand, you take away with the other. So what could you do? Because it feels like you could have literally said, "Hey, Chat GPT, make an employer branding page for me for these four companies," and that's probably what it would have done to some extent
You
because
probably
it's
should
trying
have
to
done
hit
that as your
all.
homework, like to see what ChatGPT would have
Ooh,
said. But what can you do? I think you really have to lean into what are you trying to achieve with your employer brand. It's like anything. What are you trying to achieve? And once you know that, then you can work out how you want to get towards it. So if you are genuinely trying to attract and retain the best talent, okay, so what is your value proposition? What does make you stand out from others? And even if it's not even what makes you stand out from others, it's what makes you good and what you do. Why would somebody want to come and work for you above and beyond the fact that everybody needs a job? And I mean, at the moment, yeah, the job market's a bit rubbish, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, I just need a job." Like you can see it all across LinkedIn, people posting their stories of thousands of applications, and for them, probably employer brand doesn't matter so much. Um, but these things often go in cycles. So when we flip around, and if I'm assuming there's a big if, but usually they go in cycles. Maybe AI will just take over everything, and then we'll never be back to a job seekers market ever again. But let's assume we are. Then yeah, you really want to stand out. So I guess I guess it's really distilling down to what makes you, I'm going to use the word authentically you. Like, what is you as a business? What is it like to work for your business? Not making those kind of false promises, but being kind of real, but not in like a you're going to have to work 50,000 hours a week kind of way, because that's not going to work either.
I think I think to add to that is like there are some claims from what we've seen in most employer brand sites that are just like the expected things. That's kind of you're just describing what a job is
You
essentially.
get loo roll in the toilets.
Yeah, right. You will be paid. You will have opportunities to get promoted. You will get sent on some training. You will have some benefits, some of which will be unbelievable. So there are none of that. You kind of go, okay, you're describing a job. You're not describing what a job is here. And I think that's the issue. Is like all of this seems like a race, not a race to the bottom, but a description of like the bare minimum, and hoping that gets you by. It might have been the case, a couple of years ago that what we've just read there was quite unique and individual, but now it feels like we've kind of got to another level of maturity where it's like if there was one like and I think the tool we use, right, is a value proposition canvas, right? What is the value proposition that you're offering potential employees? What pains and gains do they have? What are you fixing? What are you amplifying? It doesn't do that very well. It feels like, and it's homogenous because we're not using kind of like, it feels like we're not designing for a specific group of people or personas. Like it's what's the monkey CRM called? Mailchimp. Mailchimp call it customers, right? It's like
Mm.
we're going to lump every potential employee together and we're going to serve them all exactly the same message. Um, it does feel a little bit like that, I think.
So employer branding in the future, you have a personalized proposition based on who you are.
Well, kind of, yeah. I think that's where you get to, or at least there are a couple of different propositions. And this goes back to my DEI thing, right? Is that if the employer value proposition is singular, you cannot reasonably expect that your employer value proposition is satisfying everybody because by its very nature, that value proposition is for one customer segment, not multiple. And it might be only slight variations. But there's an organization I was working with, right? And they quite often pull 50, 60-hour weeks at work. That's kind of the norm across the board. Now, it doesn't say that anywhere on their website that that's how long you work. It doesn't say you work incredibly long hours. You are doing, and your contract says 37.5 hours. So those two things alone have set you up for an expectation that if I work here, that's the amount of hours I work, and no one's really told me anything else until you get there and really lift the lid on the culture.
So this is, I think, what's really interesting about what we were saying before. What's the purpose of employer brand? Actually, it's not just about attracting the best talent, it's also about retaining them beyond that initial probation period or initial, honeymoon period, whatever you want to call it, because the expectations have to match up to the reality. Otherwise, that disconnect widens and then it's just going to grow, isn't it?
Well, and it's exacerbated, and I'm happy to use this as an example because enough time has passed that organization will be different now, I would imagine or hope. It is because it's merged with another one. But I went to work at O2, and I got to be honest, it was one of the biggest letdowns of my life. Not because of the people or the team I was in, but O2 at the time, probably still, like it owns, it sponsors music venues and all that kind of stuff. There's I thought at the time, a really cool brand. And I was like, I bet working there is going to be really, really cool. And it was almost exactly the same as my previous employer. I was like, everything that had been built up for me from their customer facing brand and then the employer brand was not lived at all. Like it was a little bit soul destroying. It was like never watch how a sausage is made or whatever the catchphrase is, right?
I think it's don't meet your heroes.
Don't meet your heroes. Don't
So watch the
research how a
sausage being
sausage is
made.
made. But like there is so in that regard, but they did some really cool stuff as well. They had this thing called the Welcome Lounge. So when I first accepted the job, they went, "Cool, this is like all the information that we can give you through a password protected site. You haven't got access to our systems, obviously, yet. It's not your first day, but here you go." And there was some actually quite good content on there from the CEO and all this kind of stuff. It's like, you know what? Like the CEO, like walked from like the reception to his desk in the office, and like I could see where I was going to sit and all that kind of stuff. I thought this is pretty good. Turns out that CEO hadn't worked there for 6 months, but
But
but like it feels like if there's like this emotional curve, is like you through the attraction and recruitment piece, you kind of we're building you up, we're building you up, and then there's probably in some organizations a lot of time and effort spent on what a day one induction program thing looks like, so you can kind of sustain that, and then it's just a slow, steady decline into realism. Someone we both know actually last year got a new job, and every day she was posting about how great the job was. Every day, like from first day, like I did this today, I did this today, I did this today, and that was the case for about 3 to 4 weeks. And I have not, and she hasn't posted anything since.
oh,
So you kind of know what's happened there, right? You've got this initial sugar rush of excitement and new and like, oh wow, isn't the world incredible? And then the crushing realization of what it is actually like to work there, which isn't necessarily bad, because most places you're just doing work and no one cares about it, and
totally.
it's quite arbitrary.
Lots of people care. Lots of people care about lots of different things.
Yes,
They
but there are
really
also
do.
lots of people who don't.
To bring it back to employer brand, the role of employer brand in that is to set the expectations, hopefully in a positive way, but then not overreaching. So then maybe that just counters everything we said before about how these companies are all generic and vanilla. Well, if they're generic and vanilla companies, then cool. The expectation is set.
Again,
but then are you going to do the opposite side? Are you going to attract the best people? That's also a question.
So where is it best to live? Where is it best where's it best to live? That's not the question. I think Norwich was voted the happiest place to live in the UK recently, so shout out to my home city. But where is the best place for an employer brand to live, like in the ecosystem of everything? Because like you've obviously got Glassdoor and Indeed, right, which is user generated kind of branding, if you like, and a real, sometimes quite dirty, gritty look at what it's actually like to work there. It probably goes the other way, right? Is like it's almost too real, and only, well, is it like if you have a bad experience, you'll tell 10 people. If you have a good experience, you'll tell 3. That whatever. I'm messing up numerous catchphrases in this episode, but like, so generally, Glassdoor is full of people complaining. Possibly, I don't know, but where would you spend the effort to try and articulate to an audience what it's like to work at a company? Would you do it on a website?
Well, I would be looking at where do people come from, and what do they do. I'd be using like UTM tracking links to try and work out, okay, so people have come from this job advert, then they've come to this website, and then from this website they've gone here. How many people are applying on our website versus through something like LinkedIn where they clearly just clicked easy apply? To be honest, I would be looking at where do the best candidates come from, and then spending my energy there, probably, to improve something that's already not doing a terrible job.
Tech Talk. What does UTM stand for?
I don't know what it stands for.
Pete's
I can't
next
remember.
To you. Ask Pete.
He's busy.
Unique
but it's
tracking.
We'll look it up. It's the bit you put in the URL that basically helps you work out. It's like a unique code you put in a URL, and it shows you where everything's come from. What's that face for?
Well, I can't believe this is what it stands for.
What does it stand for?
Have a guess what you think it stands for.
Unique tracking mechanism.
Okay, that makes sense. Tracking, you got correct.
Oh, good.
The last one is module, so it's something tracking module.
What does it say? You need to zoom in. Unclear. I can't read it.
Urchin.
Okay, well that's a technical thing.
We need to do a live stream with Pete, your husband Pete, to just. Why is it called Urchin? Oh, it was developed by the Urchin Software Corporation. There you go.
There we go.
Wow. What a anyway, so this unique tracking link essentially to find where people, and we worked with a field marketing organization, right? And we asked them that very question. It's like, where do your best people come from? And it turned out their best people, more often than not, came from a well-established retailer. That's where they were coming from. It wasn't coming from their competitors, wasn't coming from adjacent industries. The best people they could get for the right price, skill set, whatever, was from this retailer. And so that kind of completely shifts where you would go and look for that stuff, because it's like it doesn't matter if I have a website. I should be where are they all hanging out?
So
Well,
there's
they're all
there's an
hanging out in
element of
shops.
that, but then you also want to take a look at, are you getting a diverse workforce from that? I think does your employer brand appeal to lots of different people coming from different walks? Because and working out what works for your business. And actually, if you need your business, people working in your business to all have experience within the industry, and your industry is quite niche, well, probably they're all going to come from one place, say. Um, but yeah, I think there's that element as well. I would try and stick to an online, not stick to, but have supplement whatever in-person activities you do also with an online presence.
Well, and
Probably
this is,
depends on the business, though, I guess.
I think it does, but also like the interesting thing is like if you were trying to poach people, not poach, but attract people from like a very specific section, is like you kind of know if great people coming from this retailer, because they have great training programs and they develop people and all this kind of stuff, so we know we kind of get a fully formed employee out of them. Then all you need to do is look at the value proposition that they're offering and better it, or figure out, not necessarily better it, but God, this is what what's that chap Rory Sutherland said. He said there was this restaurant that wanted to become a 3-time Michelin star restaurant, and so he took all the staff to a 3-star Michelin restaurant, and everyone was writing down what do they do that we don't, and so we could
Mhm.
just copy in that. And then, but there was Rory was saying, like I know him personally, was saying that actually what you should be doing is going around and seeing everything that they do badly and improve on that rather than trying to copy everything they do well.
Oh, I
So
think both.
they, well, I do both, but they said the opportunity gain is better with the latter. So, for example, they had a beer sommelier
Mhm.
because not everyone wants to drink wine with their meal, so they had a beer sommelier to do beer pairings with food and all that kind of stuff. So, anyway, a little bit of a tangential thing, but there is that your employer brand and your employee value proposition are very closely intertwined. That I'm not sure with some of the vanilla stuff we've seen what the value proposition is there for me for an employee, other than I can work for you, get all the things I would at a normal job, and I'm going to help people connect with each other because they have a phone. Which, to your point, might be enough. Are they kind of just going, you know what, people just come and work for us, whatever we slap on here, so let's just write anything. But the disheartening thing is it's probably someone's job to do that. Like that is their job, is that whole thing in a company that size.
At least it's not all been outsourced to ChatGPT
Not
yet.
yet. I think in closing, the thing I would add in is, and I think you kind of mentioned it, is you bring in the voice. You have to bring in the voice of people, right? And I know we talked, about Glassdoor Indeed, but there's like genuinely hearing what people have to say, what it's like to work. And I think it's either you can do it through content, like video content, any type of content, or talking to them. And that is the one. But it comes in at recruitment generally is like, oh, go and talk to someone who works here. Like that actually was that O2? I can't remember. There was a job interview process I went through, and one of the steps was this person isn't in your team. You're probably not going to work with them, but we'd love you to talk to them and find out what it's like to really work here.
Mm.
And I was like, that was pretty cool, and I got really good insight. But it came at that point of trying to convert me. Now it turns out this person was off their rocker because none of what they said was true. But but it did a really good convincing job, and I think this is the danger: is that if it was kind of like it isn't just the measure of success is, do we have a big enough audience to drag them through the funnel to get them to convert to be an employee? That's the number, right? But in isolation, that creates some quite bad behavior, quite bad solutions. Because if you, as an individual, if you're an employer brand, right, or that's the project, is how many people can we get to look at our careers page? You may as well just chuck the Epstein files on it, then they'll get a lot of looks. No, but like we talked about this
Yes.
today. Like what's measured is managed, and so therefore, and this is I suppose the criticism and why we do what we do is that you have to have this much broader view of where this thing sits in the employee experience, because if you don't, you end up creating something which is quite ineffective.
And why you come back to the thing that I say every live stream, why break a habit of a lifetime? I've already said it twice. What are you trying to achieve? Like, what is the point of it? Genuinely, what is the point of it? And then how are you going to measure what you've done? And how will you know if you succeeded?
I think that's a great place to end. Well, it feels nice to be back live streaming. It's been a while, and I really enjoy these conversations. So, Emily, I hope you enjoyed the conversation.
Always.
There was a big pause there, but that's fine. And dear listener and viewer, I hope you enjoyed it as well. Like I say, we are coming back every week as much as possible to do this. Next week, we will both be streaming from home, but we will be live streaming the day after the Learning Awards, where we are shortlisted to be Startup of the Year. So we'll either be miserable, we'll be moderately happy because we got like a gold, silver, or bronze, or we'll be over the moon and really hungover because we won a big award. But either way, it's just an absolute thrill to be nominated because we didn't think we'd get even that far. So I'm happy. Are you happy?
Yeah, very happy.
And it's Friday as well. So there we go. So for now, that's me and Emily on Freeformers Unplugged, and we will see you next week.